Hotspur are deep in negotiations with Antonio Conte, and many believe he will be the next Tottenham manager. It is believed by many that the deal is done, formalities are now being completed, and Antonio Conte will be announced as the new Spurs manager within days. It is also now believed that Conte has demanded that Harry Kane remains a Tottenham player for the foreseeable future. Could it be a nice day for Tottenham, just as Antonio Conte suggested on his personal Instagram account? In other news, the price has reportedly been set for Manchester United and Chelsea target Raphael Varane. £40 million is the going rate for this world-class, World Cup winning, Champions League winning centre-back. But where will he end up? And finally, reports out of Spain have said again that Saul Niguez has a desire to join Manchester United this summer. And the price seems rather cheap at £40 million. Should this be a target for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United? We want your thoughts. We want your opinions. Hit that like button. Here we go. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Good afternoon. What a whirlwind day. And I have to let you all know this. We work with a guy at Snack called Martin, and he put into our group chat, the Football Terrace group chat this morning, that Tottenham Hotspur are going to be the deadline for for season ticket applications is at the end of this week. So he said to us this morning, don't be surprised if in the next 24 hours, the managerial situation at Tottenham is resolved. And that is all we have seen all day across socials. The Maurizio Pochettino saga seemingly coming to an end. And now the emergence of Antonio Conte. A lot of people suggesting that the deal is done, formalities now being agreed, and the announcement is soon. There are still some other journalists that believe it could be a red herring. There could still be this big, gargantuan return of Maurizio Pochettino, but Spurs are closing in on a manager, and they are closing in on a top-level manager at that. Antonio Conte has reportedly demanded that if he comes in, the club must not allow Harry Kane to leave, at the very least this summer. He wants a year to work with him, and it is the kind of managerial appointment that could keep a Harry Kane. Antonio Conte is a serial winner. Serie A's with Juve, Serie A's with Inter, Premier League with Chelsea. He was a winner as a player as much as a manager. And he's also a character that I think Tottenham need. He's a character that is going to keep Daniel Levy. He's a character that's going to keep ENIC, the owners, on point. He will walk away if they start to disrespect the promises made, if they start to change direction. He'll do what he's done throughout the entirety of his career, and he will walk away. But I want your views. I want your opinions. The big question today is, there's two big questions. One, is Antonio Conte the right man for Tottenham? Second question, do you think he will be appointed as the next Spurs manager? I want your thoughts. I want your feelings. Get those super chats in. We've got loads to jump into already. The first one here says, let's all laugh at Liverpool fans, Terry, because Gerrard could be the next Everton manager. I've seen that trending. I don't know how true that is, to be fair. Paul says Arsenal are, I don't even know what that word's meant to be, something effing. Come on, Chelsea, get in there. Remember when we got Conte at Chelsea? Expect good things, Spurs. Trust, I know. Listen, if I was an Arsenal fan right now and I'm looking at Chelsea doing what they're doing with Tuchel and Spurs are about to announce one of the best managers in the world, I would be legitimately panicking. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. I would be so fearful. And at the same time, this Antonio Conte deal being close to resolution, that doesn't mean it's even going to be Conte. The situation at the moment is Poch, Spurs and Paris Saint-Germain are struggling to come to an agreement to get him away from his deal. He's shown genuine interest in returning to White Hart Lane. But that deal may not happen. What you could see in the next few hours is Poch come out and say, I didn't want to leave. I love being at this football club. Play it down and carry on as their manager. You could also see a sensational U-turn in current events at Tottenham and Maurizio Pochettino come in. But one thing that does feel very, very, very close is the announcement of a new manager and a top-level coach at that. I want your views and opinions. Keep them coming in with another super chat here. Marano said, we'll hear updates on Sancho in the coming days. This is a good manager for Spurs to get. Premier League is looking good next season. The Premier League is certainly heating up next season. Maria Williams here, probably one of the first Spurs fans we ever had on the terrace, says Conte will be a good choice if we get a director of football as well. And that's also the point with this news. That's also the big standout point here, Tottenham fans. You are linked with the new director of football. Now, I understand there are lots of things that Spurs fans are not happy with, that they're not happy with when it comes to the way the owners and Daniel Levy have operated. I get that. The way Poch was treated, the regression in the last couple of years. But not only are you looking at Antonio Conte or Poch to come in, you've also spoken to Juve's former sporting director, and I want to try and pronounce his surname right. I think it is Fabio Paratici. I think that's how it's pronounced. I don't know too much about him myself, but he's highly regarded. And for me, that's how a proper club is run. You make some bad choices. You go down some wrong avenues. You make some mistakes. But then you rectify it. You rectify it by bringing in a brand new sporting director with pedigree, a manager with pedigree, a manager that excites the fans, managers that could keep your want-away players like Harry Kane, managers that can attract new talent. For me, if I'm a Spurs fan right now, I am absolutely buzzing about this news coming through today. Conte to Spurs makes no sense. He's legit a wannabe Jose Mourinho without the European pedigree. He left Chelsea and Inter for Spurs. It's not about leaving Chelsea or Inter for Spurs. The reason he left both Chelsea and Inter was very different from Jose. He didn't fall out with players. He didn't become toxic in the dressing rooms. Yes, he actually had that fallout with an Inter player and they resolved it with a boxing match. But it's all quite light-hearted. Conte will walk away from a club that doesn't maintain its promises, that changes direction, that tries to pull the rug from under his feet. It's win-win for Tottenham fans. If Daniel Levy maintains his promises, you could win trophies with Conte. If he doesn't, Conte walks almost instantly. And that's almost that final nail in the coffin for this ownership and this board. It's one of the reasons why I would like a Conte at Manchester United. I don't think it would last more than 6 months, but not because Conte is not a brilliant manager, but because the owners would do his head in. But sometimes you almost need that event to happen to get everybody on side with protesting. Look how many people turned up to the Spurs protests. Maybe a Conte coming in, improving your team, and then walking away because of broken promises is everything you need at your club right now. Paul Rossio, another super chat, says the only issue with that signing is that he needs his own signings. Throw out Dyer, Dele, and replace a few without his own signings. Spurs won't win anything, I don't think. But they will, though. This is the win-win, Paul. Antonio Conte will want reassurances about money being spent, particular players that he wants, certain players that he wants to keep. If Spurs don't deliver, he walks. Him walking after not getting what was promised to him should be the sign for every single home fan, every single fan that doesn't have a ticket, to turn up and protest and try and push your owners out and push the owners for change. So far, what they're doing by looking at this new sporting director and new manager is exactly what Spurs fans wanted: a reaction after the protest, a reaction after the Super League situation. Now, we're going to take your calls in a while. We've got Alex backstage ready to come on. What I need from you right now, my wonderful viewers, is for you to hit that like button, to hit that subscribe button for the Football Terrace, and turn on the bell notifications as well. Before that, two other big transfer stories circulating this afternoon. The first, Raphael Varane's price is reportedly being set at £40 million. We know that Chelsea and Manchester United have been heavily scouting the player in recent months, been talking to his representatives, and are trying to strike a deal to bring the French World Cup winner and 4 times Champions League winner to the Premier League. Now, £40 million represents exceptional value for money in any market at any time for a player of Raphael Varane's quality. But the question still remains, can Chelsea and or Manchester United pull this deal off? I'm still unconvinced that it can go through. Carlo Ancelotti returning, will that change the minds of some of the want-away Real Madrid players? Who have they earmarked as the new signings coming in? At the same time, what could force Raphael Varane away is the fact that Real Madrid are in heavy pursuit of Jules Koundé. Now, if Ramos decides to stay and Koundé comes in, you could see a situation where Raphael Varane is almost forced away as he goes into that final year of his contract. So there's still a lot to be desired. There's a lot of work to be done in relation to convincing Raphael Varane to, one, come to the Premier League. From Man United fans' point of view, can you pip him in front of Chelsea? I just don't know if Ollie and the club with their current position have the pulling power for that. What is reported, though, in Man United's favour is that they're reportedly putting together a mammoth financial package and incentive to try and bring him to Old Trafford. And keeping the news in Spain, Saul Niguez is reportedly hoping to sign for Manchester United this summer. There appears to be some sort of temporary buyout clause in his contract throughout the course of the summer of 2021 that makes him available again for a cut price fee of around £40 million. Saul Niguez is in a very long-term contract that ends in 2026. After signing it in 2017. It was a 9-year deal that he signed, but it does appear to be some type of release clause or break clause in the middle of this contract for a particular fee. Saul Niguez is said to be trying to force a move away, with Manchester United being his desired target. This is another one of those deals that stands out to me that if it is doable, if it is conceivable, if it is plausible, Manchester United should be pushing for it. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. But do you see this deal happening? Do you see Manchester United getting this over the line today? I want your thoughts on the Saul Niguez move, Raphael Varane's £40 million price tag, and of course, Antonio Conte being the new Tottenham manager. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? We're going to share the link right now, and we're going to share it on the Tottenham chat room on the Discord server, first and foremost. So if you want to come on and have your say, get that done over there. And equally, on top of that, we're going to share it in the live comment functionality as well. If you want to phone into the terrace, if you want to give us your thoughts and feelings. But remember to subscribe. But most importantly, right now, hit that like button. 1,300 people watching, which is amazing. Only 200 likes. You can do so much better than that, my wonderful viewers. You can. YUFC says, so Terry, Levy didn't back Poch or Jose, but he's going to fully back Conte. Plus, Conte is a very defensive coach. His style of play is very pragmatic, but he still wins with it. I will reiterate my stance on pragmatism within football. It's not dead. It's not fossiled. It's not old. It's not out of touch. We've just seen Inter and Atletico win with a more pragmatic compared to a progressive style of football. But it's about the manager. Can the manager galvanize a squad and get people to play for them? Antonio Conte is a master, the same as Simeone is a master. Jose is a fallen master. He used to be good at it. He no longer is. So from my point of view, I appreciate where you're coming from. The jury remains whether Levy backs him. Totally concur with that train of thought. But in terms of him being a defensive coach, no one actually minds when you're winning. No one cares when you're winning. It's a myth. If Man United won the league with Jose, nobody would have cared about the style of football. If Spurs would have maintained their early season form and pushed for a title and won an FA Cup in the Europa League last year, nobody would have cared about Jose's style. The only time we care about pragmatic defensive styles is when it is not going right. Conte is a winner. His track record proves that. He could win at Tottenham, but you are right. He needs backing. We're going to go to your calls. Lots of you that want to jump on and have your say this afternoon. First up, he's back here with us this afternoon by popular demand. It's man like Alex in the house. I'm just checking I've got the right background on. I do. That's on now. Alex is here. Welcome back to the terrace, mate. Antonio Conte, the potential new Chelsea manager. Give me your thoughts.
I just don't understand it, to be honest, because you might as well have kept Jose. I understand your thoughts on what you're saying, but I just feel that it's just not the right way. It's a really big risk. I mean, this is the last chance in terms of getting a top manager in, because, like I said, when you sacked Pochettino and Mourinho, there's the top managers, especially Mourinho. This is the only chance you've got for me. But yeah, we're just gonna have to watch this space. I just think it's it's just desperate for me. It just sounds really desperate. And also the director of football, I've heard that he likes to spend a lot of money. So I don't know how that's going to work with Levy. So, I'm very unsure, to be honest. I think we needed a long rebuild. I thought next season's kind of a write-off for me because of what's happening at the moment. I mean, 44 days without a manager is absolutely disgraceful in my opinion. But I called that after we sacked Jose. It's just, for me, it needed a long rebuild, and we were going to go through a struggle. So to me, they're going to back him. They've got to back him. They really have to back him next season if he comes in. And there will be casualties.
Let me just backtrack a little bit. When you say you don't understand it, and you need a long what don't you understand about Conte? He's a serial winner. He's one of the best managers in the world. Why are you not jumping for joy?
Well, you just said what you just said there. You said the same thing about Mourinho. Look what's happened.
No, I didn't.
No, but you just said what you just said there. You just said he's a serial winner.
No,
Mourinho's a serial winner.
But I didn't say. Don't worry about what anyone else said about Jose. I told you all that Jose didn't have the mentality to handle dressing rooms to be that serial winner anymore. I never had an issue with his playing style. Antonio Conte is still a serial winner. He's one of the best managers in the world. He's won, barring in the Premier League. If you think about all the managers currently in the Premier League, other than Pep Guardiola, he's won more league titles than anybody else in the league. Like he would almost, you could argue he's the second best manager domestically as soon as he joins Tottenham. Why are you not happy about that?
No, I'm not arguing with that. I'm just saying the way that Tottenham have put themselves across, they said they wanted someone that is who likes to play the Tottenham way, who wants to play expansive football. They want to bring through young players. I don't see Conte doing that because he wants to win now. I've got that on record with what Romano said to Chris Cowlin when he had it on his show yesterday. He said he wants to win now. I don't see Tottenham doing that. You see, and some of the demands that he has.
Do you want to win? As a Spurs fan, though, do you want to win now?
I think, everybody wants to win, Terry. I want to win. But I realise that this is going to take a long time to sort out. It's a mess, Terry. You can't disagree with me. It's an absolute mess. 44 days without a manager. You see, look at the list of people that we've gone through because we don't know what we're doing. This is, the summer is, you can't. There's so much to do. You can't expect everything to be done in the summer. This had to be prepared in January. You see, that's what an organised top club does. So that's why I'm saying to you, I don't see this working for me.
Would you rather Conte or the previous favourite Graham Potter? If you could choose right now to pick the next manager of Tottenham, Antonio Conte. Things are as they are. You can't change the squad. It's gonna take as long as it takes to get players in. Would you pick Graham Potter or would you pick Antonio Conte?
Logically, Graham Potter would be where we're at the moment. If I don't want him, no, but logically, he's the right. He's the man that would be someone that would be 5 years. Us doing 2 years and 2 years, if it goes wrong, we're going backwards even further. That's what worries me at the moment.
So who would be your instead of Conte? And we know Poch would be your number one choice always. We understand that. Outside of Poch, who would be your preferred choice?
Terry, I can't answer that question because I've got no idea. I'm kind of just watching space and seeing how it goes. Because can I explain myself why I say that? Is because why I say is because if I say I want this guy and it doesn't happen, I'm going to be really disappointed. And another guy comes in and then it doesn't work, and then I've got to be supportive to Tottenham regardless, whatever they do. But it's ridiculous, the whole thing as far as I'm concerned. I've got a lot of doubts about this. So, but I mean, hopefully we're back in stadiums next year. So next season. So I'll be back in the stadium to watch it rather than
Fair enough.
TV.
Fair enough. Listen, Alex, thanks for coming on and giving us your thoughts, mate. Really appreciate that, buddy. Top man. Alex would prefer Graham Potter over Antonio Conte. I want your thoughts on that, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. Paul Ross here says he needs his own signings, though, and throw out the dead wood to compete, and his style won the league with us, so he's waffling, is what Paul Ross says here. Another super chat from Paul, who says the biggest issue for Spurs is Kane leaving. That's his worry, but he ain't saying it. Conte is the best for winning now. Don't think about the future yet. You haven't won anything for thousands of years. I think that's a fair challenge to Spurs fans that want to win in the here and now. We did miss a super chat from Zota, who says because he's not Poch is why he's not being backed. And I think there's an element of that from Alex. It really is. I think he's so desperate for Poch. He didn't want to stay out in the stream. But he's so desperate for Poch to come back. I think that's in the back of his mind there. Let's jump into some more of your calls. First up, Sam, the American, is with us. Sam, remind us who you support, buddy.
So I support Arsenal, but
yeah. What do you take? What's your take on Conte becoming the Tottenham manager?
I don't know, Terry. I think it was terrible news to wake up to and look on the timeline on Twitter and just see like all this Conte bullshit, and I don't know. It solidifies and reiterates how much of a problem, and I hate to shift it from Spurs to Arsenal, but it just shows how much of a fucking problem we have. Like, we'd rather stick with the unproven, like less experience, and we're still gonna entrust him with money. So why don't, if he's not even gonna, personally, I think he's not lasting past Christmas. And so if that's the case, then why take the chance? Unless he does like an absolute madness in the league, like why take the chance? And why? I think if Arsenal, I don't know. I think Arteta, Everton would be a good fit for him. I don't know. I think so. He's more of a club legend there than he is at Arsenal.
I'm picking up. Obviously, we're speaking Tottenham here as well. I'm picking up in your voice. You're looking at Spurs, a team that you all consider smaller than you. They're about to go and sign one of the best managers in the world. Whether they get Poch or whether they land Conte, they're the leading two names right now. They're about to land an elite level manager while you're stuck with Arteta.
Yeah.
Does it actually? You missed out on Ancelotti, who's now going to Real Madrid.
This is actually a great offseason if you are struggling with your manager, right? Because there's so many good. I don't think for the next few years we'll have this many good available managers to pick from, like a Graham Potter, or it just shows like. It just shows how fucking small we are and how far off the pace we've dropped compared to, we just don't have any drive. Yeah. And so I just don't know whether it's Vinay, whether it's Edu, obviously Kroenke is the big problem. And I don't know, dude. I just think we've fallen so far off the pace that, I don't see any sort of.
Yeah, mate, I hear you on that completely. I hear the pain in your voice as well, Sam. Thanks very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. Top man. Thank you, Spurs fans. We want to hear from you. I want Spurs fans to phone in and give us their thoughts and to give us their feelings. I've shared the link in the live comment section. Again, loads of Arsenal fans behind the scenes wanting to talk, and it's great to speak to rivals, but I need to hear from some Tottenham fans as well. If I don't know you're a Tottenham fan, maybe change your username, give me an idea. We're going to go next to Glenn. Glenn's on the line. Glenn, who do you support?
Tottenham Hotspur, born and bred.
Spurs fan in the house. Glenn is here. Give me your thoughts on Antonio Conte. We've already had Alex on that said he preferred Graham Potter. What's your thoughts?
I would say Conte, honestly, but I think that the thing is maybe Alex is just thinking, look, you go for someone like Potter, he's probably not going to make too much of a fuss as well. He probably work within the confines that Levy is going to give him, because we as Spurs fans know what Levy is like, and he has just been difficult in terms of like backing managers. Like, I know you didn't say it, and you said it like when you were talking to Alex about how you never said, that if you just back Jose, it's going to all be fine. But a lot of Spurs fans did think that way, because they thought, well, if you're going to do it for anyone, you're going to do it for Jose, right? Like, of all people, you're going to throw in some money there. He sort of kind of half-assed it, do you know what I mean? And that's the real problem. It's like, if you're going to bring in someone like Conte, then is it really going to happen? But like that's what's in the back of every Spurs fan's mind right now is that it's just, yeah, sure. You give him that money, but are you going to give him that money? Like you had Poch screaming rebuild since what 2018, 2019, still hasn't happened yet. So if like Poch would be great to come back in, and obviously we know like he's proven with working with. I'm not going to say he's working with nothing. That was one of our best like squads, like the UCL final. That was one of our best squads. But end of the day, like he's been asking for backing, hasn't been getting backing. Was still able to push those players as far as he could. We've got younger players coming in, like you know what I mean. We've got Skip's coming back. Do you know what I mean? Well, we got a couple players coming back. So like we know that Poch probably would work with them very well. Poch has got that kind of system that's going to be running those. He's going to be running those newer players like sort of not you know into the ground. But
having
you know
said
what I mean?
that, though, but what I would say on the flip side, for a season and a bit, Conte turned Vicky Moses into one of the best right backs in the league. You know, he got a serious tune in Spain out of dead United ballers, not Lukaku, but Young was balling out there. Darmian killing it. Like there's almost Vicky Moses is part of his squad over there. Like Antonio Conte's got a pedigree as well of elevating players, almost going, okay, I'm going to use Harry Winks as an example. I wouldn't be shocked if Conte created a system that made Harry Winks look a lot better than he is. Why? Because he's done it with other players in the past. I'm just using that as a throwaway example. But Conte's got an ability to get more out of certain players than their kind of than their past or their attributes suggest. So I think he could do bits. I think he could do some bits. Will he win you a league title?
I mean, look, listen, one step at a time. And the problem is like, again, like I don't want to keep stressing on Levy because everyone has their own issues with their, do you know what I mean, with their higher ups. But that Jose sacking a week before the cup final is something that is hard for me personally to get over. Like when I really look at him and the way that he operates, to do something like that, look, you saved an extra 15 million. Like, congratulations. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to say like, you know what I mean? It's nothing, but that cup final was winnable for Jose. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you're going to do something like that, then, you know
when you first sacked him, I thought it was going to be like the Poch sacking where within 24 hours, your new manager was announced. So that's what I think a lot of people thought. Jose's getting sacked, and then they're going to announce whoever the new guy is, and there'd be that bounce. No disrespect to young Ryan Mason, he just wasn't the guy. He was a fish out of water, and you know, out of his depth, too young. You know, even if he might go on to be a great manager, who knows? But far too young at like 27, 28 to be managing a team of that magnitude, and his first game also being a final as well. Like, absolutely crazy. But there's a lot of people in the comments that are like saying Terry, but he did that with Ashley Young in Serie A. He did. But he did what he did with Victor Moses in the Premier League. And I'm using a lot of people getting mad about Harry Winks. I'm not saying it will be Harry Winks who turned into a midfield superstar under Conte. What I'm saying is if he creates a style and suddenly a Spurs player that's looked at as bang average turns into a baller for a year or so, I wouldn't be shocked because he's done it before and he's got a pedigree of doing it. But it's certainly going to be an interesting next 24 hours, whether the Conte thing continues, whether the Pot situation changes or whatnot. It's going to be a mad... I mean, it would be mad if you ended up at the end of all of this with Eddie Howe, wouldn't it? But
Conte all the way. Conte all the way as far as I'm concerned. Like, look, Poch, like everyone had Poch. We were absolutely fine with it. Like, in fact, we were excited for it. Conte is another one I'm willing to try it out. If nothing else, try something new. But if you're gonna try something new, like we're just looking at Levy, like you just got to do this right. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because if you're going for Conte and Conte's style, that means you're not trying to do the Tottenham style. Because me personally, like winning, when you're winning, you're not caring about the style. Let's be completely honest. It's like you said, we don't really care about the style when we're winning. We care about the style when we're losing. Because then it's like you're watching the football, you're not that excited, and we're also not getting the results. So the way I see it, bring on Conte, bring on that, you know what I mean? Actually back him. Because we don't spend too much. Like, I'd say like Ndombele was probably the most we spent in terms of a single player. We don't really go too high up. So I'm wondering if Conte is going to be okay with that. Like, is he going to be able to work with that? Because if he's not, I don't know, like, it might not be worth it. Do you know what I mean?
Someone actually said here, I'll find the comment, Terry Ndombele will be that player. But Justin, Ndombele is someone I expect to play well. The point I'm making, no one expected Victor Moses to be a leading right back for a whole year in a title-winning team. That's the point. I think people to get this. I'm not, but here you. Thanks, Justin. Listen, Glenn, thanks for coming on the show and having your say, mate. Really appreciate it. Top man, thank you. A little bit of a competition for you all now. I want your best super chat questions in today. At the end of the month, we're going to be giving away 2 more football shirts of your choice. We're ordering tonight, actually. I've got the accounts team to do it at the Terrace. We're ordering the shirts for Ginger Fury in D1. We've got their addresses, their sizes, etc. And we know what shirts they now want. They're being ordered and sent out today. Get your best super chat questions in for me, and I'll be picking one lucky winner at the end of the show to go into the prize draw moving forward. Any question you want, get your super chats in now. We're going to do some more of your calls in a few moments' time. I want to go to some of your comments here. Terry, where did you get that shirt from? I don't know. I literally don't know. It was actually still in the packet in my wardrobe today. I just buy like shirts online from wherever, and then sometimes they sit in my drawer for months without me putting them on. But there we go. Super chat here. Conte to Spurs could be interesting, but will Levy spend to overhaul the squad? Because if he doesn't, Conte might move to another club. I hear you on that. Just for an overview, if you've just tuned in and you want to know what it is we're talking about today, these are the 3 big stories today on the Football Terrace. Tottenham Hotspur are deep in negotiations with Antonio Conte, and many believe he will be the next Tottenham manager. It is believed by many that the deal is done. Formalities are now being completed, and Antonio Conte will be announced as the new Spurs manager within days. It is also now believed that Conte has demanded that Harry Kane remains a Tottenham player for the foreseeable future. Could it be a nice day for Tottenham, just as Antonio Conte suggested on his personal Instagram account? In other news, the price has reportedly been set for Manchester United and Chelsea target Raphael Varane. £40 million is the going rate for this world-class World Cup winning, Champions League winning centre-back. But where will he end up? And finally, reports out of Spain have said again that Saul Niguez has a desire to join Manchester United this summer. And the price seems rather cheap at £40 million. Should this be a target for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United? We want your thoughts. We want your opinions. Hit that like button. Here we go. There you go. That's your recap today. Let's go to some of these super chat questions. First one, why would Tottenham get Conte? Another pragmatic manager. Because he's a winner. We are obsessed as modern day fans with playing beautiful looking football. I still prefer winning. There's no guarantee that all the progressive, free-flowing, beautiful balling managers, beautiful producing, sort of beautiful football producing managers. I'm not sure the right word, doesn't sound right, but you know what I'm saying there, right? The managers that produce good football, there's no guarantees they win. There's no guarantees that Conte wins, but he's got a pedigree of winning. Clubs care more about winning than they do how the football looks. Because if Conte comes in, gets top 4, wins an FA Cup, wins the European Conference League, he becomes the most successful Tottenham manager in a lifetime. And he's got the capabilities of doing that. There's no doubt in my mind. So that's what they want. They want to win. Maria here says, our supporters need to get over Poch because it's too soon for him to come back. And also to want to win, not just to play pretty football. Just as I was saying there, Maria Williams says it much better than I do. And I think most Spurs fans in their heart of hearts want to start winning more than anything else. Do you really think Kane will stay for another project? He wants to win. He's too good not to have a trophy next to his name. Do you know what, Ginger Fury? That's a really good question. And let me answer it like this. Antonio Conte is the kind of manager that could help keep Harry Kane at Tottenham. But he's also the kind of manager that could soften the blow of him leaving. Spurs fans, I think, would be less frustrated at the loss of Kane if Conte was to come in and then be backed financially with the proceeds. when you bring in a serial winner who's at the peak of his powers, not someone who was past his best 5-6 years ago, not somebody with a track record of destroying dressing rooms, burning relationships with players, and winning less and less over a 4 or 5 year period. Antonio Conte is not that man. I believe he's won 7 league titles in his last 9 league campaigns. Sensational. Absolutely sensational. So for me, I think it's win-win with the Harry Kane situation. He either stays or he moves and it softens the blow. I think it's a great question there, Ginger Fury. Thank you. Does it mean Lukaku will move to Spurs? Probably not. Probably not. Not with Chelsea pursuing him, not with Manchester City now pursuing Lukaku as well. But who knows in football? Who knows in football? Anything could happen at any moment. If Spurs sign Conte, where do you think Spurs will finish? That is a great question. The Harry Kane situation is going to play a big part in that. If they sign well, they can make the top 4. They could push Man United out of the top 4. Because they would suddenly, in my opinion, Pep, Klopp, and Tuchel have all got a Champions League winners medal each. Of course, Conte doesn't have that. But domestically, being successful domestically, the only manager in that group that is better than Pep is Conte. The only person that's better than Conte in that group is Pep. My apologies. Domestically, I think Conte is a better manager. He's got a better proven track record, a better winning record. So he'll push right past Man United and Ollie. And that's a genuine fear for me. Genuine fear. No doubt about that. No doubt about it. Let's go to some more of your calls. We're going to go to Steve next. Steve's on the line. What are you saying, Steve?
Hey, what's going on?
I'm good, my bro. Who do you support, Steve?
Actually, Chelsea.
You're a Chelsea fan. What do you want to say? What do you want to say, buddy?
I would be kind of heartbroken if Conte left. If Conte went to Spurs, because to me, like I've been a football fan for about 6-7 years, and I remember the first ever season that I got in Chelsea. It was Conte's first year, and he is, that was the most extensive I've ever followed a team, and it was amazing what Conte did. That season is still my favorite season that I've followed a team, because the stuff that he, the counter-attacking and the 3-4-3 and Moses and Conte and Diego Costa, I loved it. I loved it. So I'd be a little bit heartbroken if he went to Spurs, to be fair. But
I do hear you, and I get that you would, and I think he would have that bit between his teeth. He would love to kind of maybe try and spoil the party for Tottenham next year with how he left and his feelings towards the ball at Chelsea and stuff like that. Bro, thank you for that call, mate. Really do appreciate that. Man, next on the show, we're gonna go to Jonathan. Jonathan, remind us to all who you support, buddy.
Arsenal.
You're an Arsenal fan. Give us your thoughts on Conte to Tottenham.
For me, it's kind of confusing in the sense that, for instance, look at it. You have Conte that left Inter Milan, right? And I guess there was a sense of he was going to lose some of his best players.
Yeah.
Now, let's say Inter Milan just sell Lukaku only, which would have probably cost around 80 million, right? Mm-hmm. Now, he leave Inter Milan just because he's going to lose maybe 1 or 2 best players. And you would think that why would Conte would want to go to Tottenham, which leaving never really invest in a manager that much, which you can say, all right, this year I'm going to fight for the title, because we all know that Conte is a man that want to win same time, which for me, it's kind of, I'm kind of jealous in the sense that Conte would even go Tottenham and you have Arsenal, they don't even try to make even, some intention to see if Conte would want to come to Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, listen, look, I kind of get where you're coming from. I think this is an interesting one. A lot of people don't think that he's going to be backed by Daniel Levy because of their track record, and I do understand where that train of thought comes from. But I also think Daniel Levy and co realize it's do or die for them now. It's either deliver for these Spurs fans and make them happy, or they will have you. They will push to have you out. It's you're not going to get the money in that you wanted, and Daniel Levy does appear to be desperate to win. He took a gamble with Joe saying it didn't work. I just think if he backs Conte properly and gets Conte the majority of what he wants, and Conte isn't going to go there and think he knows he's not going to sign Messi. He knows he's not going to get unrealistic signings for the size of Tottenham. But if they give him what he wants, there'll appear to be I can win you X, Y, and Z, and I can achieve A, B, and C if you give me 1, 2, and 3. And I think that as long as they deliver that, no Spurs fan can complain or moan. Jonathan, great call, mate. Thanks for coming in, having your say. Really appreciate it, buddy. Top man. Thank you. T here says, are the current group of players at Tottenham good enough to win something? Potts didn't manage to win anything. Is there a lack of winning mentality? I think there is, but Tottenham have always been too nice. I think Conte will stop them from being too nice. Do they need to improve the squad? Yes. Are there still a handful or a group of very talented football players at Spurs? You better believe it. You better believe there is. Let's do some more of these. There was another super chat that came in that I want to go to here. What about Ramos? What about him? I don't know what you mean. What, to Spurs? I doubt it. Too much salary, but we will see. Next on the show, we're going to go to Spursman is here with us. Spursman's coming on. Welcome to the terrace. What do you want to say, buddy?
Yeah, man, Terry, big up your whole self, man.
How you doing?
Yeah, well, I just want to say how a caller could say he want Graham Potter over Conte, man. That make no sense. You want to be first in expected goals?
Some people, what you've got to remember about Alex doesn't actually want that. Alex doesn't like winning, and he doesn't like being expected to win. I think he's comfortable being a supporter of a losing team, a failing team. I think it makes him feel safe. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, man. But for me, if you're bringing Conte now, he will be, he will bring back that winning mentality to Spurs that we didn't have for thousands of years, man. He will be that manager. It's just leave it to back him. And I think we will go places with Conte. It may not be long term, but for now we need to focus on the short term, man.
I get your point on focusing on the short term, but you can still buy players that are good now and good for the future. You can win things whilst building, can't you?
Yeah, and also if you look at our squad, it's not that bad. Oh, if Conte could make Ashley Young and Matteo Darmian ball in Syria, we have players like Reguilon and Doherty, and we know he likes to use wing backs. We have players that he could use. We just need 3 to 4 signings with him, man.
Mate, I hear what you're saying there, bro. Thank you for calling in and having your say. Top man.
Big up yourself, Terry. I'm a big fan, man. Big fan.
I appreciate that, my guy. Thank you for calling in. I really appreciate that. And it does help in your names on StreamYard if you say what team you support. It helps me get you on quicker. That being said, we're going to go to YG, who's a Spurs fan here. Welcome to the terrace. What do you want to say?
Hi, Terry.
How you doing? Yeah, I'm very good. You're a Spurs fan. What's your take on the Conte news today?
I'm actually really excited, because I'm actually on my Twitter, I said like how much I think Conte would be the right fit, even over Poch, because I think it's not the right time for Poch to come back at this moment in time because he hasn't even won the league in the League One yet. So I would rather want him to stay at PSG, win some trophies, show that he can win the league over there, and maybe even push for the UCL there instead of coming to Spurs, where like who knows if he actually gets guaranteed the money, guaranteed the backing, guaranteed the DOF in order to compete and bring us back where we're supposed to be or where we want to be. So I feel like Conte would be way much better. And I also see a lot of people saying that Conte is just like Jose, but I completely disagree with those people because I think the main difference is his man management is way much better than Jose's man management. So I would rather have Conte there, push them players who I think he can improve, and also the players that we have, like Harry Kane, for example. Like I feel like he can help Harry Kane a lot more than he already gained. Like Harry Kane's already at the top, but I think Conte can even push a little bit more with Harry Kane. Apparently, he wanted Ndombele back, I think, last year. So Reguilon, as last caller already said, as a wing back if Aurier stays, I think Aurier would be a great wing back as well. So I think there's a lot of good potential there, but it's only gonna depend if Levy actually gonna give him the tools in order for us to compete. So it's like it's like it's like two ways it could go. Either it goes wrong and he gets sacked probably at the next summer, or it goes right and we're probably gonna win stuff. Even if it goes wrong, I rather want it to go wrong than right, because if let's say we get an Eddie Howe or we get a Graham Potter, they're not gonna demand anything. They're not gonna go and try to demand from the board something. It's gonna be all laid back. Everybody's gonna what's it called? Everybody wanna be passive and just they're just gonna be fine with us being seventh. But as a Spurs fan, like looking at our last 5 years ago, 5 years that we've been competing, why should we go back to being seventh or even go back to mid-table? Like I would rather see us push forward.
Yeah.
You know,
of course, absolutely. You shouldn't be allowing that to happen. And what's your take on Spurs fans like Alex that are saying they would rather have Graham Potter or someone of that level? What's your response to Spurs fans that say that?
see, I see where Alex is coming from. Actually, I actually see where he's coming from, but I think Graham Potter would be the complete wrong move in my opinion, because if you would actually try to go with Potter, I think Potter wouldn't even do well at Spurs, in my opinion, because yes, he would do us a rebuild. He would probably let us play good football, what a lot of Spurs fans want. But I'm not about this good football stuff. I rather want to win than have this good football but sitting 10th. Like I don't get where Alex is coming from that sense, but I do understand where he's coming from, because he doesn't want us to try to go with Conte, go all in, fail, and then everybody banter us again. So I do see where he's coming from, but I think Graham Potter would be a complete wrong move for us.
Hear you on that. Listen, great call. Top man, thanks for coming on the terrace, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Viewers, please make sure you're hitting that like button for us. We're going to go to some more of your comments now that are coming through. Conte is a top manager. He will elevate Spurs for sure. Remember, we always prioritize super chats and member chats on here. Some of you just talking to each other. I love watching you guys talk to each other. Sadik here says Conte will significantly improve Tottenham and their chances to win silverware. There is no doubt about that. And they're looking at this new director of football as well, which I think is, and I want to make sure I'm pronouncing his name. I run it through Google Translate earlier. This is how they say it in Italian.
Fabio Paratici.
Paratici. Okay, something like that. Fabio Paratici. The former Juve sporting director is now being linked with the move to Tottenham as well. And for me, as a rival fan, when I look at this, that's how I think a football club should be run. I look at this and think to myself, new director of football, new manager, new thoughts, new feelings, fresh canvas for the start of a new year. I look at my football club, tired, old, boring, bad ways of running things with an average manager. It's painful, legitimately painful to see, no doubt about it whatsoever. We're going to get Josh. Josh King is going to be on with us in a moment. We know big Spurs fan, friend of the channel as well. Josh, welcome back. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good, man. This news is just thrown me for six. I thought we were getting Poch in the morning, and then it's Conte. I just don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously we've got the message this morning from Martin. And he's like, expect something to happen in the next 24 hours. I saw that and just thought, okay, cool. And the news has gone mad today for Tottenham managers. You know, it's as if he might know someone. And it does look like Spurs are closing in now on sort of securing their new manager, which it has to happen at some point, because you can't even go into the transfer market without a manager, really, can you?
No, not at all. Not at all. The thing that I'm most excited about is the sporting director appointment, though, if it's all true. If this all comes to pass and Levy's taken a step back, I'm not saying that I know much about this Paratucci guy. I know he was at Juventus and signed loads of players on a free and stuff like that. But just the fact that it will be someone that, knows football, knows how to work with Conte, I think, look, I don't think he'd be getting these people in, Conte and this sporting director, if he wasn't going to have some funds for them.
Yeah.
So although the realist in me is like, this is going to all end in tears again, I think after the backlash with the Super League and everything, something's got to give, innit? And hopefully it works out if this does go through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean it's a good start though, isn't it? You know, when you look at it, it's just a good start in terms of, what he can bring, what he can do. And I would just legitimately, bruv, I would be so excited right now as a Spurs fan, because it feels like, there's still this opportunity that Poch might come back. And that's kind of, I mean, Alistair Gold and a few people kind of played it down a little bit this afternoon, saying it's going to go either way. It'll either get played down like there was never any chance, like Poch was never thinking about coming back, or it will just go very quickly in the other direction. And maybe Spurs sort of negotiating faster and quicker with Conte was done as a way of almost trying to get Poch to nail his flag to the mark, because Poch has been silent over it, hasn't he? He hasn't come out and said anything, which
yeah.
But listen, either way, you suddenly look at it, and whether you sign Poch or whether you sign Conte, you're going to have the third or fourth best manager in the league straight away.
It's better than Scott Parker, and even though I was on the Graham Potter train, like even Graham Potter, it's better than those options, isn't it? But I would not be surprised if this, like Martin was talking about the season ticket renewals. I wouldn't be surprised if this is all being leaked by Levy to get the season ticket renewals up, and then we end up with a rubbish manager on Friday after that.
Can you imagine? Everyone renews their season tickets, and then you walk out David Moyes. Like, do you know what I mean? Can you imagine? Honestly, bro, the anti-climax would be. You do remember watching Blind Date, and every now and then the lady or the guy picked like someone they didn't like, and the door came back, and their face was just like, "What have I picked?" That'll be you guys. The new manager unveiled, and it's just going to be carnage. But no, I think you're going to end up with. I think you're going to end up with a really good manager. I think Spurs are going to. I think they're responding to what you have all said as fans. I think they've responded to that. And, it looks like they're pushing really hard to bring you somebody in big. If you do land someone like a Conte, where would you expect to finish next season?
Look, I'm going to go big, honestly. Like I'm not even, like I said, I haven't been on the Conte train. Like there's been loads of people for weeks that have been like screaming for Conte. But if we get Conte and we get a sporting director, I believe Kane will stay, not because he wants to stay, but because there's a lot of reports saying Conte doesn't want him to be sold, and we have the power to keep him. So if we get Conte, we get this sporting director, and we keep Kane, I think we're finishing at least top 3 next season, because Conte will treat the Conference League as no Europe. What happened the last time a club signed Conte after sacking Mourinho when they had no Europe? Do you know what I mean? Like Chelsea won they won the league. I'm not saying we're going to win the league, but because it's Spurs. But I think that we will surprise a lot of people, because we will literally just play our reserves in that Conference League and probably still get to the semis. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I just think that if you've got Conte, he is like, in my opinion, without the European pedigree, he is kind of like a modern Mourinho. Do you know what I mean? The way he galvanizes his squads, the things that he's done. Look at Inter were nowhere near it, and he's broken that 9-year winning streak for Juventus. So yeah, I'm gonna go big. I'd say top 3, and hopefully a cup. I'm not sure, has Conte actually won a cup before?
I was looking at it earlier. I don't know as a manager. So yeah, he's won the Super Cup in Italy twice. I don't know how, that's the Community Shield essentially.
Yeah.
No, he's never. He's actually no. He won the FA Cup with Chelsea. Won the FA Cup with Chelsea. Yeah, he did.
Oh, I thought he lost that final.
No, he beat Man United. I was there. Yeah, he did. He won the FA Cup.
Yeah, no, I thought didn't he lose the final to Arsenal though, or was that not Conte?
That was
might be his second year.
No, that was Yeah, maybe. No, that was the year before. That was the year before. Year before. They needed the double. They lost. Yes, they lost that cup final. Yeah, that's why you're getting them confused. Yeah, you're right. But what's interesting is since he went to like teams that could legitimately challenge, so from 2011 until now, so that's 10 years, right? So in that time, in the last 10 years, he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 league titles. But I think he's only been active for like 7 of those years.
Yeah.
So it's a bloody good record that he's got.
It's insane. And I'm picturing it like if we do keep Kane and keep Conte, and get Conte, then you've got Kane and Son probably playing the 2 striker roles because he likes to play 2 up top. You've already got someone like Reguilon that could be a good wing back. There's only a few. We just need to shore up the defense. And I think I don't think as much needs to be spent on Spurs as people think if you've got a good manager that galvanizes players. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get carried away, but if we do get him and keep Kane, then I think we can do well. I really do.
Mate, no, I totally understand. Looking at Juve here, so I got the dates wrong. So Juve, he spent 3 seasons at Juve, won 3 league titles. Spent 2 seasons at Chelsea, won 1 league title, 1 FA Cup. 2 years at Inter, and he's won 1 league title. So essentially, in his last 7 league campaigns he's been a manager of, he's won 5 of them.
That's
and done
insane.
what? Do you know what I mean? So that's serious pedigree. It's serious pedigree. And do you know what? Doing it with Juve, everyone will say, it's Juve though. It's Juve. It's easy.
Yeah.
Chelsea, where he picked them up from, they're on their ass, and he got them back to the top. And I always felt like if Chelsea would have backed him that following summer and everything, it would have been okay. And then he goes to Inter Milan and does what he does. So for me, like I look and it's the win percentage, bro. High 60%, like high 60s, mid to high 60s is his win percentage. If he maintains that, that's top 4 level, bro. That's top 4 level. Listen, Josh, great call, mate. Thanks for coming on, having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Top man. Thank you.
Cool.
Cheers, mate. Alex here with a super chat says, Terry, it's a long-term project at Tottenham, not short-term. Conte will not solve our problems at all. Least with a coach like Poch, that would be a plan for 5 years. We need a year to rebuild or 2, is what Alex D has got to say here. Jello with a super chat as well. I think I might have missed putting up on the screen. I'm very sorry. It's already gone by. Which is annoying, but he says Conte will definitely improve Spurs, but the question is, will Spurs properly back him? And a lot of people have asked that question on today's show. Moving it forward here, big Arsenal fan on the show now. One of the best up-and-coming YouTubers on planet Earth, friend of the Football Terrace, contributor to Football Terrace. He's here by popular demand. He's back with us this afternoon. He's here to talk about his nemesis. It's man like Ika.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I need a girl to ride. I need a girl to make my wife. I need a girl who's mine, oh mine. I need a girl in my life. I need a girl to ride. I need a girl to be my wife. Nobody else, she's all mine. I need a girl. Yeah. Yo, I'm internationally known on the microphone.
Afternoon, mate. How are you?
I'm good, man. Terry, you know me, man. Been busy, but I have to make time for this.
Absolutely.
I seen this news, Terry, and first thing I thought was, you know what? We're missing the big story here. The big story is the Juventus guy possibly joining them too, or is that even done? But if he does join, I will see this going one way and one way only. Actually, let me give two scenarios. One, they could go out and they're gonna win something, and that thing they could win is probably the thing that they're supposed to win, which is the Europa Conference League, right? That's most likely the one thing they could possibly win this season. They're not gonna win the FA Cup. They're not gonna win the League Cup. They're not gonna win the league. Realistically, those things I don't think they're gonna do. Now, this is the way I really end up seeing it going. Jose Mourinho resigned. Pochettino got sacked. And what has happened with Antonio Conte's career? Inter, he parted of ways. Chelsea, parted of ways. Juve, parted of ways. So I can only see this going one way, Terry. He's going to end up resigning when he doesn't get backed, and he feels like what he was promised was not given to him after a year's time. In my personal opinion, we're going to be here a year later. He's either going to resign or get sacked.
I can understand that train of thought because it's in my mind as well. If they don't back him, and it will highlight things massively. The other end of that spectrum, what if they do back him?
What does backing him mean?
Okay, let's say they buy him the players that he wants. They give him the support he wants 2-3 years running. Say they do. Can you conceivably see Arsenal catching Tottenham with one of the best managers in the world being backed at the helm?
Okay, first things first, we know Tottenham are going to have to sell Harry Kane in order to financially back him. And if he's willing to sell Harry Kane and reinvest, that's a scary thought. But the first thing that I'm hearing is that they're not looking to sell Harry Kane, that they're trying to keep Harry Kane. And to me, that's to the detriment of the future of the club. I genuinely believe if they were a smart club, they would have tried to sell Harry Kane and reinvested in the squad with a manager who they trust.
I understand that. So the question is, if they're backing him, and they give him and they make all the right decisions that you're talking about there, can Arsenal catch Tottenham?
Today's not about Tottenham, Terry. Today's about Tottenham. Today's not about Arsenal.
Arsenal and Tottenham are intertwined. They're relevant to each other always. Yin and yang. When you're looking at this as an Arsenal fan, and you know they are, when you're looking at this as an Arsenal fan, is this bad news?
Listen, it can be. I'm not going to lie to you. It can be. But from history, what history tells us is Tottenham will get there and they'll become complacent with the position that they're in, similar to what Arsenal have done. So if they continue to become complacent with even an ounce of success, the first thing they taste might be enough for them to dial back a little bit and be like, you know what, now we need to pay off the rest of the stadium. Now we need to get a actual sponsor for the stadium. They're going to have other priorities that are monetary over success, in my opinion.
Okay, I hear you on that. I mean, he's a top quality manager, isn't he? Like, what's your thoughts on Conte, the manager?
Oh, Conte is an absolute gem in the sense that he's able to turn teams around in quick succession. He completely destroys the whole thought of having a process, in my opinion. He completely just comes into teams, takes Chelsea from 10th, a team that won the title before, takes Inter Milan, turns them around like in a snap of the finger. He had the Italy team playing amazing football. The next year, they don't even the next year after he leaves, they don't qualify for a tournament, or 2 years later. So I'm not going to knock the manager. He's a great manager. And if Tottenham get him, this is the first out of 10 managers that they've already tried to get. So this is not ambition from Tottenham, guys. They have been rejected by every single manager that they've tried to get. Ten Hag, Nagelsmann. I could probably name like 4 other guys that turned them down. Didn't Sarri also turn them down? So this is now their 5th or 6th manager they've tried to get. This is not a masterclass by Tottenham. Let's not paint it that way, Terry.
It may not be a masterclass, but sometimes you got to remember Poch, who they're very happy with what he did there. He wasn't their first choice. They got rejected before him, and it worked out. Okay, sometimes not signing your first choice or not getting. I'm sure Arsene Wenger wasn't on the top of all of the Arsenal fans' wish lists when he signed back in the 90s. There would have been other managers at the time they wanted. So sometimes these things can be born out of nothing. I think the Chelsea connection makes this very interesting.
Sir Alex Ferguson was our first choice over what's his name? The guy before Arsene Wenger who won the league title,
George Graham.
George Graham, yeah. Sir Alex Ferguson was the choice.
You're never taking him from Man United. But yeah, imagine that. Imagine that one, bro. Where do you think, if Conte comes in right now, next season, where are you putting Spurs in the league?
We have to see what the window does, what happens in the window. But if everything is the same as right now, I would honestly say with Antonio Conte as manager, I still see them outside of the top 4, maybe 5th or 6th.
There we go. Gal, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Next up, thank you for the super chats, by the way, to Chelsea Love and to Josh King. Mean a great deal to us. John Green here says Man United will finish out of the top 4, is what John Green believes. Next up, AJ's here. AJ is a Spurs fan. What are you saying, mate?
What's up, Terry? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. Long time no speak. What's your thought on the news this afternoon?
I am very, very, very happy. As soon as Conte had left Inter, he was the one I wanted. I'm happy.
How come? Yeah. News this afternoon.
Sorry?
How come? What makes you excited about this deal, bro?
Oh, it's just he's one of the best in the world. I'm not gonna lie, Pochettino. You know me well, and you know there's no one that's more grateful and appreciates what Pochettino has done for Tottenham more than I am. But if Daniel Levy had got him, it'd have felt more like fan service than anything, because it's not even been 2 years since Pochettino went. And when he left, too many people got hurt, and it was just really, really sad. Like, we all know Pochettino will be back one day, and I'm all for it when he comes back. But 4 or 5 years will be good, not now, because we're in a Tottenham right now. We're a burning building. Pochettino escaped that building when he got sacked nearly 2 years ago. We're still a burning building. If he comes back, to put out a burning building, you need fire extinguisher, a whole fire crew. You know what Daniel Levy's like. He's only going to give Pochettino a fire extinguisher. That ain't going to put out a whole burning building, is it? You get what I'm saying?
I do get you with that. I sometimes have this thought in life. Sometimes, generally, like an X is an X for a reason, and once you leave once, you shouldn't go back as a general rule. So I would be concerned about him returning, regardless. It's something that very rarely. Like sometimes in life, you see. I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for here? You might see a show return. Like, I would never want to see, like, legitimately, right? I would never want to see Game of Thrones come back. Certain things end. They end and it was great. Let's leave it in the past. Yeah. Because if Poch comes back and does a bad job for whatever reason, it could damage the legacy and the love that people have built up. Do you know what I mean? It's like Kenny Dalglish when he went back to Liverpool. They didn't damage his legacy because they got rid of him quickly. If they'd have carried on with that for too long, you got to remember that guy was a legend player and a legendary manager for them. And even then, I remember people just going, please get rid of him because it's hurting us. You don't want Poch to come back and to do 2 or 3 years here and it be awful. And then it just ruins, leaves a sour taste. I'm not, by the way, Liverpool fans, I'm not suggesting that there's a sour taste for Kenny, but the return didn't work. And you started to see people didn't want to be horrible towards Kenny, but they saw how bad the team was. You guys don't want that to happen to Poch. Sometimes leave the past in the past and move forward is the best option, I think.
Now, 3-4 years, Pochettino can come back when we're in a better place. Not right now, we're in a mess, because right now we're not as mess to clean. Yeah. And the thing is, everyone's talking about, will Conte get back? I get the argument. We've seen what Conte's done at Chelsea and Inter. He's walked both times he was told he's not backed. And he won't, if he comes, he won't do what Pochettino and Mourinho did, was just stay to the point until they get fired. He'll walk and he won't take any of Daniel Levy's nonsense, which is what we need right now.
Hear you on that. Listen, AJ, great call, mate. Top man. Thank you. Speak to you soon. Thank you, bro. Bye. We're going to get Fixer on the show next. He's here with us. Fixer, give us your thoughts.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that's a brilliant, if it happens, I think that'll be brilliant for Spurs to get Conte in. Conte is a guy that doesn't mess about. I think Conte is like the new Mourinho when Mourinho was still, Mourinho. Like, everywhere he goes, he's successful, and he does it like within the first season, doesn't mess about. And I think what Conte also can do is create that sort of siege mentality between Daniel Levy and the team itself. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted Conte to come to United, because if he came to United, he's not going to take the side of the Glazers or any of that shit. He's going to create a siege mentality where the team is the team and the board is the board. And if they don't want to comply, he's like that guy said, he's going to walk. He's not even going to hang around and be like, oh, the board did this. He's just going to walk. It's either you back him or you sack him. He doesn't take no shit. And that's what we need at United. We don't need. See, a lot of people are putting a lot of emphasis on this rebuilding thing. This is 2021. There's no more rebuilding football. You come in and you change the fortunes of the club, or else there's no point. That's what Pep Guardiola did. That's what Tuchel did. That's what Klopp did. Okay, maybe not Klopp, because Klopp is the exception. But the point I'm trying to make is you come in and you change the game straight away. There's no time for all this. I just realized that Solskjaer has been in United for almost 3 years. So why are we not thinking of bringing in a Zidane or Conte kind of? Why is Spurs? Spurs who is like finished below us. Why are they the ones who are talking about Conte? And also just sitting there with Ole. It doesn't make any sense.
I couldn't agree with you more. I look at Man United and Arsenal and just think, what are we doing? What are we doing? Fixer, great call, mate. Thank you for coming on and having your say. Viewers, make sure you're hitting that like button, subscribe, and next to that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Set up notifications on your phone so YouTube can tell you when we go live. Lots of videos over the course of this summer. Brand new shows on the way as well, in full development. And the newsletter is returning soon. And the newsletter, I've seen some clips of what it's going to look like today. Amazing. Daniel's now with us. Daniel is an Arsenal fan. What are you saying, buddy?
I'm fuming, Terry. I'm gutted. I'm angry about Spurs appointing Conte. This guy was my number one dream manager I wanted to have. This guy's going to change the whole mentality of Spurs. He's going to... what he does, you don't even have to spend big money with this guy. He has the system. He'll get the system that will fit the best players in. You've seen it Inter, where he did it with a 35-year-old Ashley Young. He did it with Victor Moses, both at Inter and at Chelsea. He did it with Darmian, Alonso. He has a system where he can fit not the greatest names of players, but with players that will do the job for him, and you'll demand respect. And this could, maybe change Harry Kane's mind and maybe perhaps wants him to stay. And it just pisses me off because these lot are moving as a bigger club than us, getting the best manager they can get, and we're just sitting there. We're not a serious football club, Terry. This club is it's a joke. It's full of jokers. The fan base is a joke. Do you think this fan base really cares? They're not hurting. They're not hurting. Like, I've been hurting since that Champions League final on Saturday because I've had to accept that Chelsea are a bigger club than Arsenal now. There's no debate. Chelsea are a bigger club than Arsenal. We're not the biggest club in London anymore. And I don't think Arsenal fans really care. They don't really want the best. They don't really want the best. They don't really care. They're not hurting. I don't see them hurting. So next season, I'm going to be stuck here with this fraudulent manager, and we'll be finishing outside the top 6 again. I'm stuck here with the Cronkies. They all say Cronky out while they're buying the new kits with, oh, look at this away kit, promoting it on their socials. I've just had enough of this football club, Terry. I've had enough of this fan base. This football club's not a serious club anymore. We're not a big club anymore, Terry, and it's really pissing me off. I've given up on this football club. I really have, Terry.
I hear your pain there, Daniel. I really hear your pain there, mate. Listen, thank you for calling in and having your say. I know a lot of Gooners feel exactly the same as Daniel. I know there are Man United fans that feel the same as Daniel. And you suddenly see Spurs looking at one of the best managers in the world. It must hurt. There's a super chat here that says, with Daniel Levy's reputation, why would Conte want to go there? Listen, that's a great question. I can't answer it. I don't know why he's going there. He'll say it. But managers, they love the thought of being the ones to break, being the ones to break the mold. What if Conte is the manager that gets Spurs winning trophies? Do you know what that does for him in terms of legacy? Diego Godin spoke about winning titles with Atletico and saying how you can win one league title with Atletico and it makes you a legend. There are some that say that Suarez is looked at maybe as he might be a legend at Barca. They're not sure. I've seen these debates where some say he is, some say he's not. Atti fans are saying he's already a legend. There are some times where this thing of some players are encouraged by legacy, legendary status, their name being etched into history forever. Their name will outlive their body on this mortal coil, as it were. And some people are energized by that. Maybe Conte looks at it and says, you know what? If I go to Tottenham and get Champions League qualification, win some FA Cups, some league, something in Europe, maybe even something bigger, he's just suddenly he's a legend of the game because no one's been able to do that. So I think that could be that's me surmising and putting something out there. That could be a motivation. I think final caller of the night. We're going to go to Matthew. Thank you very much, my guy. In terms of the answer, that's just that would make sense to me. Matthew's on the line now. What are you saying, Matthew?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Saul Niguez update. What position does he play? Is it CDM or is it centre mid?
Central midfield, generally speaking. Can play a defensive element, but he's a central midfielder. Gets forward and gets back. So I suppose in the modern day era, we'd coin it as a box to box. I suppose.
Yeah, I like him, but CDM is the real option we need to go for. But I'd take him if we sold Donny van de Beek. That's the only reason why I'd take him. Would he work with Fred in the double pivot? I'm not too sure. Does he work on a double pivot at Atletico? Do you know?
I don't, off the top of my head. I'd have to go and look.
Yeah, it's interesting, but hopefully we get Varane, 40 mil, not too bad. Sancho looks like he might be coming soon, hopefully before the Euros, but we'll have to see on that.
Absolutely. Listen, Matt, thank you for that call, mate. Really appreciate it. Top man. Thank you. Someone here says, Terry, do you need a website? Our website is being developed and built as we speak. That will be launching very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Everyone who's tuned in today, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. Please make sure you subscribe to the Terrace, turn on bell notifications, hit that like button before you leave. We're back later on tonight with more football content for you.